maintenance of it's a big issue. You know, maybe something with simply low hedges around the site that give it a little bit more sense of
somehow, right? But,
a cyclone fence, no.
I don't know. That's good.
Are there other questions?
This is really interesting.
No, so the stockade was there when you were,
Yes.
we were kind of wondering here, just
Yeah.
like, when was the stockade built? Like, maybe,
You know, having a rather secure barrier around the site does imply that the facility can be run with fewer people on site, you know, and less supervision, you know, so I do think
Definite access issues.
that's really important, you know, because you could easily walk up to one of those buildings, break a window and climb in, you know, and it's, but,
I have another question. So,
yes,
like when the marina was built,
Yeah.
had, I'm assuming that there were probably lots of artifacts that just ended up in Lake Superior or something.
Yes, they did.
And
Some,
I don't know, I'm not familiar with that history, and was, had they already built the old museum at that point?
yes.
So that existed
Right.
before the marina went
The
in?
museum starts in 1958,
Okay.
and the marina must be in the late 60s.
But the addition, yeah, when Ted Gary did it, yeah.
When they dug out the wetlands.
It's
I mean, I remember when it was
like
around.
right, there was the little marina, and then, you know, and then the marina would have.
Yeah.
So in your career,
yes.
how would you rank the work that you did on the museum in terms of the role that it played in your development, how important it was to you at the time?
Oh, I greatly enjoyed it. Previously, in the mid-70s, I worked on a major reconstruction of the Vesterheim Museum in Decorah, Iowa, which was significantly larger than this project, and one that has worked out well, I think. And they have a big old hotel building on Main Street in Decorah that I helped renovate in 1972, and then worked on it for several years thereafter. It's just a fantastic collection of historic materials, and it's got a big payroll and a bunch of people, and they've built a collection of buildings around it now. So it has worked very well. And my little piece of it in the beginning was, I think, worked out all right. I've enjoyed working on historic preservation projects, and I kind of put this in that category, although we did nothing on the historic buildings part of it, except to try to build something adjacent to it that could allow them to survive, you know, as a museum, you know. But I worked on many dozens of historic preservation projects over the years.
So that actually raises another question. Some of us just learned for the first time, because we were kind of not observing there's a building outside the new addition that belongs to the museum. Was that put up to house construction workers? What was the history on
It
that?
was there in 1990, and we really didn't look at it at all.
Okay.
I mean, I was aware
We
that
haven't
it
looked
existed and that the museum owned it.
It looks like a double
Double wide trailer.
But on the
Prefab.
foundation.
Trailer building that had.
I think Max and I were happy enough to just have enough parking on the site to basically meet requirements, which I think there is.
Yeah.
You know, with some street parking added maybe. And of course, I'm not, you know, Minneapolis, St. Paul has just recently eliminated almost all parking requirements. I have no clue what effect that will have on development, but I mean, I'm not sure that's good. I think they probably went too far in doing that, but, you know, I think it's actually good to have some street parking and have some on-site parking, and because I think the public likes to go like lemmings where there's more people, you know, a little excitement about what's going on there. And so I think there's probably adequate parking on the site currently, but that's just a
There's a parking,
Well,
public parking.
There's public parking
Across
across,
the
so,
street, yes.
you know, last Wednesday
Yeah.
night, 53
Right.
people showed up for
Yeah.
the program. So I'm sure that other
So
parking is.
I don't think parking is an issue for it. I do think maintaining an image and signage and stuff that brings people to the building is important. There might be a little dearth of landscaping right now with the,
Might be.
To say the least.
Dearth.
you know, and with the absence of the stockade, I think that invites perhaps a native species hedge of some sort. You know, could have blueberries, could have God knows what all in it, you know. And I'm not a landscape architect.
Yeah, right.
Landscape architect involved. That's what I hope.
Yeah, I think that's
But I think that can be another purpose of the museum would be to have natural media around it that reinforce the wonderful location of the island and the character of the island.
There has to be an access point from the ferry to the museum, so it sort of directs people to go there
Yes.
rather than make a right turn.
I think
take a left turn.
wayfinding could certainly be improved.
Yeah.
That's a great word to use, wayfinding.
It's not original to me.
You mentioned briefly that sort of in the new edition, the one area where there's places for permanent exhibits is on the wall of the auditorium.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah, sort of.
outside a little bit. Well, we find that periodically there's a need to have more than the 70 seat capacity in there. And I understand that there's a audio-visual room that maybe is no longer needed to be as big because of, is that right?
Because of the new sound
New
system.
sound systems are much smaller.
And
and
if the computers would work,
Somebody knew the password.
If someone, and then there's space outside, but,
Right.
so we want a quick little architectural idea of how you have, can make that into bigger space and make it smaller.
I haven't thought about that.
No, I'm sure.
My problem is that I'm kind of a studier of things, and if there is any merit in the many projects I've done, it's that I spend a lot of time reading and trying to study how things got to be the way they are. Many years ago, when I first started going to university, I worked for a remodeling contractor. Earned my fare at university doing this remodeling work. And he was a very practical, basic man. He said, don't get architectural about stuff. He said, just look at how people use buildings and do it better.
That's
Which
very
I have
cool.
not forgotten in the 60 years, that advice. That you know, like this wonderful space, you know, Eric and Laurel have done things with both Max put that door in, and Max put those windows in, and Eric has retrofit all parts of this place to make it wonderful. And you know, just look how it worked and then make it better. And I look the same thing about the museum, is make a list, how do you make it better? You know, that's how I would approach it. And then what does it cost to do this, and this, and then bring those two things together.
That's great advice.
And then where does the money come from?
Yeah.
But
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.